Texas. A Nacogdoches man will spend the rest of his life in prison for sexual crimes against a child. Patrick Tyrone Williams, a 51-year-old, was found guilty of sexually assaulting a girl over a span of 3 years. Based on an affidavit, the girl was assaulted at least 15 times by Williams. The girl's mother went to Nacogdoches Police Department in July of 2018 when she found pictures on Williams' phone that showed that Williams sexually assaulted her daughter. That affidavit said the girl talked to a detective and confirmed that abuse, and said that Williams also took pictures during most of the assaults. After detectives gathered forensic evidence from the location where the abuse happened, and after the girl was examined by a nurse, an arrest warrant was obtained for Williams, and he was arrested on July 26 of 2018. According to the Nacogdoches County judicial records, in 2018 Williams was charged with sexual abuse of a child, indecency with a child, 4 counts of possession of child sexual abuse material, and then in 2019, continuous sexual abuse of a child under 14, aggravated sexual assault of a child, indecency with a child, and possession of child sexual abuse material. And then in 2023, his added charges included continuous sexual abuse of a child under 14 and possession of child sexual abuse material. His trial was delayed by the COVID pandemic. When it was finally set for March 12th of 2024, Williams waived his right to a jury trial, and a bench trial was conducted in the court of 420th Judicial Court Judge Ed Klein on March 12th and 13th. Judge Klein heard the evidence that this sexual assault was not the first one that Williams had committed against the child. The state presented evidence from an incident in Shelby County from about 20 years prior, where a Center, Texas child had been assaulted by him as well, repeatedly. Williams will spend the rest of his life in prison without the possibility of parole for his crimes. See ya, Chomo. For real. A Thurston County man convicted in Lewis County of sexually assaulting a juvenile girl repeatedly between May of 2019 and November of 23 was sentenced Wednesday to 136 months, which is just over 11 years, in prison. The man, identified as David Allen Roth, a 34-year-old of Olympia, pleaded guilty to 1 count each of second-degree rape of a child and sexual exploitation of a minor on February 21st. Roth was accused of sexually assaulting the juvenile victim multiple times in Centralia and the Napavine areas between May of 2019 and November of 23. He also accused her of He was also accused of asking her to take naked photos of herself and upload them to a file that he had access to. When the abuse first began in 2019, Roth told that victim she was not allowed to tell anyone because he would go to jail or kill himself. Well, you should have killed yourself because she told on you. See ya, Chomo. And now back down to Texas, where we have a man who's been sentenced to prison for the continuous sexual abuse of a young child. Jose Espinoza was found guilty by a jury on 2 counts of indecency with a child by contact and 1 count of continuous sexual abuse of a young child. District Judge Janet L. Leal of the 103rd District Court sentenced Espinoza to 25 years on the single continuous abuse charge and 20 years on each indecency charge, totaling to 65 years. Espinoza was the step-grandparent to the child victim and used his access to them to sexually abuse them. Child sexual abuse cases are the most difficult to handle, and I'm very thankful for my staff's determination to fight for children who have suffered sexual abuse, said Louis B. Sayens, the Cameron County District Attorney. Good job, guys, and see ya, Chomo. The sentence has to reflect your record. You made a lot of errors in judgment as a young man. District Court Judge James Castee said to Jared Rogers, his 21-year-old chomo here of the Brigger Valley, while Rogers was initially arrested and charged with 20 felony counts, a plea deal dropped half of those charges down to 10 counts before he was sentenced in the 3rd District Court in Evanston on Friday, March 8th. Rogers pleaded guilty to 4 counts of sexual abuse of a minor in the 2nd degree and 3 counts each of sexual exploitation of a minor by manufacturing and then possessing child sexual abuse material. Through the plea deal, Castee sentenced Rogers to 7 to 10 years behind bars for each count, but to be served concurrently at the same time. So he's only got 7 to 10 here. Rogers' crimes occurred during the second half of 2022 when he was 19 years old and was involved with 2 different underage girls who were each 15 years old. And this is in Wyoming, so the age of consent there is 17. Ages 16 and under cannot legally consent to sexual activity. You hear that, chomo? 7 to 10. See ya. Over to Wisconsin, where an 18-year-old man was arrested, and he now faces more than a dozen possession of child sexual abuse material charges after a Racine County investigation on Friday, March 22nd. According to the Racine County Sheriff's Office, the Racine County Criminal Investigations Bureau and the Racine County Internet Crimes Against Children Division conducted a search warrant in the town of Burlington for possession of child sexual abuse material. And of course they found it, because during the investigation, 18-year-old Edward Vargas, this chomo here, was determined to be a person of interest. The sheriff's office said Vargas was subsequently taken into custody for questioning. He refused to provide a statement to law enforcement and was then taken to the Racine County Jail. Numerous electronic items were seized from Vargas's person, the sheriff's office said. A forensic examination of those items yielded several thousand images and videos. That's right, several thousand of child sexual abuse material. The following charges were referred to the Racine County District Attorney's Office. Possession of child sexual abuse material, 15 counts. Failure to update information as a sex offender. Yeah, he's a sex offender already at 18. 3 more counts. Vargas is the subject of 2 previous child sexual abuse material investigations, according to the sheriff's office. See ya, chomo. Alright, I can hear you guys down in the chat now. Where'd he get this guy from? What rock did he crawl out from under? Well, he came from Bismarck, North Dakota, and he's facing a number of felonies involving the alleged trading of images involving child sexual abuse, along with, guess what, drug charges. How do we know that? This is 33-year-old Austin Diety. He's being charged with promoting or directing an obscene performance by a minor, possession of certain materials prohibited, possession of a controlled substance, you guessed it, meth, and a misdemeanor count of possession of drug paraphernalia. See, the police executed a search warrant Friday at Diety's apartment on Warwick Loop after a witness approached authorities. According to the affidavit, the witness had been at the residence for a consensual sexual encounter and reported that Diety had displayed pictures and videos of child sexual abuse material on a computer. Well, officers who searched Diety's home said they found a cell phone with a 38-minute long video showing a group meeting held to share child sexual exploitation videos, and some of the videos showed children as young as just 5 years old. Police said they also discovered meth pipes, syringes, a bag of suspected meth, and a number of pills. The Burleigh County Assistant State's District Attorney Isaac Lees in court on Monday asked that Diety be held on a $50,000 cash bond, which I don't think is high enough, saying the police search turned up additional electronic devices and more charges might be filed because they didn't go through them yet. The nature of this offense is deeply disturbing, that prosecutor Lee said. South Central District Judge Bruce Romanek set Diety's bond at $5,000, 10% of Lee's request, and barred Deity from having or using any device that connects to the internet. Romanek denies Lee's request to prohibit Deity from having contact with minors or approaching places that children might gather, but said the request would be revisited if charges are filed. So this judge dropped this guy's bond down to $5,000 and then allowed him to be around minors. What's that tell you about him? San Antonio. A suspect has been arrested after police say he sexually abused 2 girls for years. Authorities believe that Christopher Ray Munoz, 35-year-old, has sexually abused 2 young girls continuously since at least 2017. Police responded to a call on March 12th for a child sexual assault in progress. When police arrived, the victim, who was just an 11-year-old girl, described the abuse she and her younger sister have dealt with for several years. Munoz was arrested on Saturday and charged with continuous child sexual abuse and is being currently held at the Bexar County Jail with a $100,000 bond. A man who fled to Mexico after posting bail has been found guilty, according to the Washoe County District Attorney's Office. This is 40-year-old Chomo William Guerrera. He was convicted by a jury of several counts of sexual assault of a child under 14. In 2019, the Reno police received a report of a 15-year-old girl who had been sexually assaulted after she disclosed it to a social worker. During a police interview, Guerrera confessed to repeatedly assaulting that victim. The assault only ended when the victim threatened him with a kitchen knife. Good victim. After being arrested, Guerrera posted bond and escaped to Mexico. The victim's family then moved to Mexico also and lived near the defendant for 3 years. Guerrera was later arrested again when he tried to illegally re-enter the United States. The Washoe County District Attorney's Office transported the now adult victim back to Reno for the trial. This guy's eyes are all red. He looks like he's stoned or something. That or he's just crying because he got caught. See ya, Chomo. A multi-state, multi-jurisdictional group of law enforcement officials have announced charges for a Blue Ridge Summit man on child sexual abuse possession and charges in Pennsylvania. Ryan Martin Menton, this long-necked giraffe-looking fool over here, is being charged with felony child sexual abuse material possession and felony criminal use of a communications facility. Menton is currently behind bars in Franklin County Jail on a $100,000 bail. The search warrant was applied for and granted for Menton's home. Menton, however, was not there when it was executed. You know why? Because he was in the California's Camp Pendleton for U.S. Marine Corps training. Due to that, Naval Criminal Investigative Services, the NCIS, were called to assist in picking up this giraffe. In total, they found 636 image files depicting subjects under the age of 18 performing sexual acts. Some of those were watermarked with LS Models, which is a company called Lolita Sex Models. The company's a foreign-owned entity that disseminates child sexual exploitation material. Those files, investigators say, were found on a computer tower that belonged to Menton. Well, Ryan Menton, he's still in jail behind that $100,000 bail. See ya, long-necked Chomo. A Callaway County man was arrested for the possession of child sex abuse materials, according to court documents. Larnard Freeman, what a name, Larnard. A 52-year-old was arrested Sunday, March 17th at his home in Holt Summit. Sheriffs responded to a call from a relative of that child, stating that they had caught the minor sending inappropriate images to Freeman. The relative stated that the 2 other family members had gone to confront Freeman about the inappropriate messages with the minor, When they got there, the witnesses stated that Freeman allegedly shot twice in the air with a gun and then pointed the handgun at them before being pulled back by a woman that was in his house, causing him not to hit the witnesses with the alleged third shot. That family member had also told the sheriffs that Freeman had allegedly contacted them directly to confess his affection for that minor, who's just 14 years old. Callaway County sheriffs arrested Freeman but were unable to find that weapon. He's being charged with possession of child sexual abuse material and is being held in the Callaway County Jail with no bond. Three men have been arrested by the Grovetown Police Department with some help from the Georgia Bureau of Investigation Internet Crimes Against Children's Task Force during an investigation aimed at targeting online child predators, and it was known as Operation Sweet Tea. According to the Grovetown Police Department, Rubicel Castro Cruz, a 33-year-old on the left over here of Edgefield, South Carolina. And then on the other end, we've got Anthony DeQuan Harley, a 30-year-old of Aiken, South Carolina. In the middle, we've got James Charles Walker, a 31-year-old of Evans, Georgia. They were just some among the ones arrested during this operation. Undercover agents and investigators were engaged with over 1,000 individuals, of which 157 verified adults expressed a desire to meet for sexual activity despite being advised they were talking to a child. That's just sickening. That's a huge number. Authorities add that of that number, 12 individuals stated that they would be willing to travel to meet with the child for sex and offered payment in exchange with some identified as living as far away as Chattanooga, Tennessee. According to the Grovetown Police Department, Castro Cruz, Harley, and Waller were each charged with one count of sexual exploitation of children and committed to the Columbia County Detention Center with multiple electronic devices and 2 vehicles seized as part of that operation. Authorities state that this is an ongoing investigation because they've got way more people to look into and additional charges are surely expected. See ya, the 3 chomos. A 55-year-old Toledo, Ohio man was arrested earlier this week after police say he engaged in numerous sexually explicit conversations with what he believed to be a 13-year-old girl. Well, we all know it really isn't, right? Raymond L. Walker is now facing preliminary charges of child solicitation, which is a level 4 felony, as well as distribution of obscene matter to a minor, a level 6 felony. That means he showed his private parts to her. His charges stem from an undercover investigation in which a Howard County Sheriff's Office official assigned to assist the Indiana Crimes Against Children's Task Force posed as that 13-year-old underage girl on the website Chat Hour. Online records show that Walker is also a registered sex offender in Ohio, with alleged crimes primarily against underage females. It was also reportedly made clear from the very beginning that the deputy's fictitious profile was that of a 13-year-old girl. In that initial conversation, Walker allegedly asked the undercover if she liked older guys because he loved younger girls, and the pair eventually agreed to meet up at a Kokomo Park on April 3rd, and the conversation then moved over to the Kick Messenger. Walker also reportedly sent nude photographs of himself, asked the fictitious girl if she had any friends younger than 12 that could join them at the park, and he talked about purchasing that girl a bus ticket to Florida so that 2 could live together down there. What a sick son of a... yeah. Well, Walker's being held without bond at the Howard County Jail after he was arrested in Ohio and extradited back to Indiana. See ya, Chomo. Lieutenant Commander from the Navy's 1st Fleet Readiness Center, Northwest, was arrested in Washington last week on allegations of raping a 14-year-old after paying them for sex. This is Lieutenant Commander Lucas Martinez, 61-year-old. He was arrested on charges of third-degree rape of a child, commercial sex abuse of a minor, and communication with a minor for immoral purposes. Martinez allegedly went to the home of a 14-year-old boy that he had met online. Wearing his green camouflage Navy working uniform, Martinez paid $200 to have sex, according to that affidavit. He also allegedly used an official Navy phone line to contact that minor after their meetup. And on January 22nd, the mother of the 14-year-old victim contacted the Anacortes police after she received suspicious packages at her home containing sex toys and sexy costumes. The boy told his mother that he had been posing as an 18-year-old to communicate with older men on adult websites, and that the men agreed to give him gifts off of his Amazon wish list. The boy's profile indicated that he was looking for money and included a nude picture of the lower half of his body without his face. Let's head down to Bryan, Texas for this one, where a Bryan man is back in custody after being arrested on charges of possession of child sexual abuse materials. DPS charged Joel Garcia Tuesday with 9 new charges of possession of child sexual abuse material. He's being held in bonds totaling $450,000 as he sits there in the Brazos County Jail. Don't think he'll be able to get out. Garcia was previously arrested back in January for the promotion of child sexual abuse material. The Montgomery County Constable's office says that Garcia was associated with the distribution of more than 22,000 images of that material into the Woodlands area. See ya, Chomo. Shenandoah County authorities have charged 2 Mount Jackson residents with possessing child sexual abuse materials. This is Jessica Sue Ann Smith, a 33-year-old, and Robert William Zemeny, a 34-year-old, are each charged with 5 counts of possession of child sexual abuse material, 4 of which are second or subsequent offenses. Authorities accused them of possessing the materials from January 10th through February 29th of last year, and the Shenandoah County Sheriff's Office arrested them on Thursday. Smith and Zemeny remain held without bond at the Rappahannock Shenandoah Warren Regional Jail. Smith and Zemeny are scheduled to appear in Shenandoah County Juvenile and Domestic Relations Court on Thursday. And the County Sheriff's Office executed a search warrant, happened at their residence on February 29th, and they grabbed up 2 cell phones and a tablet computer. Law enforcement officers interviewed them both right there at the property, and at that time, Zemeny admitted to making the Google email account that was all housed in. And also conversations between Zemeny and Smith were located on Zemeny's phone. They were talking about viewing that child sexual abuse material together, as well as being locked out of the Gmail account that held it. Sickening.
One for Rainbow, one for Amanda.
Who you playing with, sweetie?
Amanda.
Huh? Oh, who are you?
I'm Amanda. I'm 6, and I love unicorns.
Sexual predators are seeking kids online.
We don't know Amanda. Happy birthday, dear Ellie.
Now, Ellie, remember, this is our special secret.
Okay, Uncle Jim.
1 in 5 children is sexually abused before they turn 18.
Make a wish, but remember, it's a secret.
Do you know the signs?
I just want everyone to go home.
Learn more about the risks of child sexual abuse at sapria.org.